I would like to extend my thanks on behalf of the European Parliament's Committee on Women's Rights and Gender Equality for having been invited to take part in the Up4Diversity conference and to support the meaningful project. Let me say that I truly regret that I cannot be with you in person. In order to build a diverse and equal society, we in the FAM Committee actively support the prevention and fight against violence towards LGBTQI+ people. In this regard, the European Parliament expressed its position in several resolutions, which also make it clear that attacks on the fundamental rights of LGBTI people represent a serious threat to respect for fundamental rights in the EU, and those attacks are often coupled with attacks on women's rights and minority rights. Among those resolutions, I would like to highlight three. The resolution of March 2021 on the declaration of the EU as an LGBTQI freedom zone, the resolution of November 2020 on the situation of fundamental rights in the European Union, annual report for the years 2018-2019, and the resolution of December 2019 on public discrimination and hate speech against LGBTI people, including LGBTI-free zones. As a chair of FAM Committee, I would like to stress that active participation of young people is a key strategy in order to achieve an inclusively society. Civic education, intercultural dialogue, and youth empowerment play indeed crucial roles in making a social transformation and eradicating homophobic violence. LGBTQI+ people often start to experience bullying, abuse and harassment at school. The lack of health and sexual education particularly affects girls and young LGBTQI+ people. Here, it is important to note that educational settings are often prevented from promoting LGBTQI+ rights and combating gender stereotypes and violence. Unfortunately, as the European Parliament recorded, many attacks carried out by public authorities have indeed targeted educational institutions and schools, being detrimental for young LGBTQI+ people. We also acknowledge that hate speech by public authorities, populism rhetoric, and far-right extremism substantially contributed to creating an adverse environment for organizations and activists actively advocating for LGBT+ and women's rights. For this reason, in order to achieve a social and political impact, we need projects aiming at providing teachers, young professionals, and young people with the skills to become active upstanders. It should be kept in mind that violence and discrimination against LGBTQI people are often connected with a broader deterioration of democracy, rule of law, and fundamental rights, which must be considered some of the main intervention areas. As we know, since 2019, many regions across Poland, which I come from, have declared themselves free from what they say and what they call LGBTQ ideology. Furthermore, we are deeply concerned about similar bans introduced in Hungary, leading to increasing episodes of violence and intolerance. The Parliament firmly condemned this, as well as the existence of the so-called conversion therapy practices, still dictated in too many countries. I would like to conclude by saying that the FAM Committee reiterates the words pronounced by the President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, according to which LGBTQ+ is a person's identity and not an ideology. We must ensure that EU remains a LGBTQI plus freedom zone, in which equal treatment and non-discrimination are fully respected as fundamental rights. To this extent, combating inequality is certainly a shared responsibility requiring joint efforts at every level of government. Thank you very much for your attention and for your commitment in promoting the European values.